Let's just talk about seeds in general. Seeds are sacred. Without seeds, none of us would be alive because they grow the food that we have to survive. So seeds are sacred just like Mother Earth, Father Sky, and all entities on this planet. And there was a time when we were very intimate with seeds as humans. We needed them, we planted them, we harvested them, and we were an agrarian society all over the world, not just in the US. There were agrarian societies that lived off the land and planted seeds and harvested seeds and knew how important seeds were. And we've come such a long way away from that kind of life. One of the most wonderful things about aquaponics is it reintroduces you to that agrarian lifestyle. And so what happened? Well, what happened was the Industrial Revolution. During a 100-year period between 1800 and 1900, the entire world changed, and people moved out of the rural areas and moved into the cities and highly populated the cities. And the cities became very dense, and people stopped growing food. And so a really important thing that happened right after this Industrial Revolution was something called the Green Revolution. It followed the Industrial Revolution. We've heard about the Green New Deal. Well, this is the Green Revolution. It happened in 1944, right after World War II. It was launched in Mexico, but it was privately financed by the US. And it encouraged the development of hybrid plants and hybrid seeds. Yet I talked about heirloom seeds. And in fact, I said a bunch of our seeds, like these right here, come from Baker Creek. All they do is sell heirloom seeds. Then along comes hybrid seeds because of the Green Revolution. The Green Revolution promoted hybrid seeds, chemical pest control using pesticides, massive irrigation, big machines to run farms, and guess what happened? 3.5 million US family farms vanished almost overnight. And big agri and big chemical companies took over the food production in the United States and also all over the world. And so then along came the supermarket. What would we do without the supermarket? We would all starve because very few Americans are planting and growing their own food. So what is the difference between hybrid seeds and heirloom seeds? And that is a really important question. And it brings us back to the main question, what is pollination? Because the difference between those two kinds of seeds is all about pollination and how they are pollinated. And so pollination is how plants reproduce. The sex life of plants is all about pollination. Now, when it comes to plants, they need help to reproduce. So they need pollinators because they can't move around and meet each other out there in the field. They are immobile. And so they need pollinators to move the pollen from one plant to the other plant. And so there is a category within the pollination process called open pollinated seeds. And there are two different ways that you do open pollinated seeds. It's a form of natural reproduction, which occurs, and one form is called cross-pollination. And it occurs when two varieties of the same species of plant reproduce due to natural pollinators. That's the key word right there, natural pollinators. Who are they? Well, we all know the bees are in that group. Also, insects are natural pollinators. Other insects, butterflies, wind, and birds are all natural pollinators. Then there's pollination. And so there's a whole bunch of plants that possess the ability, they have both male and female parts, and they can reproduce by themselves. So the difference between heirloom seeds and hybrid seeds is heirloom seeds are older, well-established varieties of seeds, open pollinated plants and seeds. They have developed stable genetic characteristics over time, passed down from generation to generation. Some families have passed these seeds on to each other down the line. Grandmothers passed on to their grandchildren, like, for example, and they have the family name even, like Henderson bush bean. That's an heirloom seed that has been passed down by that family. And now people can buy it over at Baker Creek. You can buy Henderson bush beans. These are naturally pollinated by the natural pollinators. What's going on with the hybrid seeds that were all created during the Green Revolution? They are cross-pollinated by man, not nature. Not the natural pollinators. Man has gotten into the pollination process. And it's controlled, and it's different varieties of the same species of plants are created to build up certain characteristics in that plant. For example, it's hardier, it can withstand disease better, it grows bigger, that sort of thing. Now, it doesn't make hybrid seeds bad, and they are not GMO. Hybrid seeds are not GMO seeds, so don't go down that road. That's a whole different road, and don't ever plant GMO seeds. We'll talk about that later. But so hybrid seeds are not GMO seeds, but they are also not naturally pollinated the way heirloom seeds are. And here's what happens in the end. You can save and pass down heirloom seeds. You can save them over time from one season to the next, but hybrid seeds, you can't save them and expect to replant next season the same seeds and get the same plant, because they're not dependable. They don't have stable characteristics because they were created by man, and only Mother Nature knows how to do that. So that was kind of a long story to describe the difference between hybrid and heirloom seeds, but it's important to understand the science behind what's going on. And in conclusion, let me give you some resources. And so this is right out of our website. It's a newsletter that I wrote a while back called The Sanctity of Seeds. You can find this newsletter under AP Info. On our website. It's a drop-down menu, and you go to Archive Newsletters Group 3 to read that one. And then this is a page that is in our About section. It's called Aquaganic Certification. This page tells you the history of all the different kinds of plants that are sprayed with pesticides, and then the organic movement that happened and what happened there, and then the aquaponics movement. This is a trademark that we have, aquaganic trademark, and you can get certified if you're growing aquaganic plants through our trademark. Also, that page talks about GMOs as opposed to aquaponics and hydroponically grown plants. Lots of information about GMOs that is pretty scary. And then here is an article that I read before to gather some information. This says, can you save seeds from hybrid vegetables? So I talked about that just a little while ago. Can you save seeds, and what's going on with the hybrid vegetables? And then this one comes from rockinwhomestead.com. It tells you the difference between hybrid and heirloom seeds. And so we will link you to these articles down below this video, and you can actually go and do a little research on your own. Here are some catalogs. Like I said, we get most of our seeds from Baker Creek. They're all heirloom seeds. This is a really beautiful catalog. It comes out every year. You can just get it free if you request it. And then here's Johnny's Selected Seeds catalog. I showed you Johnny's seed packet, and I told you these were self-pollinating squash, so you didn't have to worry about having to pollinate, help be a pollinator for your squash, which is really a nice saving. And now I'm realizing that I haven't actually planted seeds in this part 3. But I have planted a seed of thought about the difference between hybrid seeds, heirloom seeds, and what happened during the Green Revolution. So you're going to have to come back to part 4 to see the other 3 trays get planted. And I swear, we're going to plant all 3 of them in part 4. See you then. Thanks for visiting.